Hi, everyone. I am excited you're here today because we are going to dive into a conversation that is rarely talked about the way that it should be. What your period is actually trying to tell you about your health. And those of you that are new that are joining me, I am April Blackford, and I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and I specialize in gut and hormone health for perimenopausal women. Now, let's dive in. Okay, so your period isn't just something to get through every month. I just want to say that. That's the first thing. It's actually a real-time report card for your hormone health. And if you know what to look for, then you can spot early signs of imbalance before bigger problems actually show up. So let's break it down in a simple, clear way and maybe have a little fun along the way. I think y'all know that I kind of like to use analogies and have a little fun with it. So, first, your period is actually a monthly health check-in. Let's think of your period like a monthly check engine light. When everything's running smoothly, you barely notice it. Like you don't really pay attention other than the annoyance of, oh, okay, it's here. I got to deal with this for a few days. But when something's off, your body will send signals and they show up in the length of your cycle, the color of your blood, the severity of your cramps, and even how you feel emotionally. Your hormones, mainly estrogen, progesterone, and a few others, are orchestrating this process. So if one gets out of rhythm, it can impact everything. Think of like an orchestra playing, like, all the instruments play in harmony, but if there's one off, it can throw the whole orchestra off. So okay, so let's talk about we're going to talk about what the different period clues can mean. The first is your cycle length. And this is an obvious one. This is an easy one. So short cycles, if you're having a cycle or all of a sudden your cycle shortens and it's less than 24 days, this is often linked to low progesterone. And progesterone is like the calming friend who makes sure the party ends on time. Without her, things can wrap up too quickly. So, shorter cycles are usually an indication that progesterone is low. Now, long cycles, so like more than 35 days. So, say you're typically a 28-day cycle person, then all of a sudden it starts getting longer. And you're like, wait a minute, what's going on? This can usually indicate issues like PCOS, underactive thyroid, or delayed ovulation. So you're not ovulating like are supposed to or like you were. Then you have irregular cycles. So things are just totally unpredictable. It comes too soon, comes too early, it's long, it's short, everything. This is often tied to stress, high stress, gut health issues, blood sugar swings, or as you're entering into perimenopause. This is very, very common. Now, let's talk about the period color. Yes, the color of your blood actually can tell you a lot. First, you have bright red. This is actually a good sign. This is an indicator of a healthy blood flow and a healthy menstrual cycle. Then you have dark brown. Dark brown is an indicator of old blood, and it could point to slower shedding of the uterine lining or low progesterone again. Then you have pale pink. So pale pink may indicate low estrogen, and this is very common, often seen with women who are overtraining, undereating, or undergoing prolonged chronic stress. That's pale pink. And then you have purple or clotty, so say like big clots. And this is often linked to estrogen dominance or overall higher inflammation. Now let's move on to the flow and the symptoms. Heavy bleeding or big clots usually indicates estrogen dominance. And then you have barely there periods. So say it's like, oh, it's nothing, it's barely light, every month. This could actually mean low estrogen, poor nutrient intake, or overall hormonal fatigue in general. Um, and then those of you that struggle with severe cramps, which I hear this a lot from women that they're like, every month, like I have to brace myself, because it's horrible. Like I can go nowhere I actually just had a conversation earlier today, a discovery call with a lady who was basically, she said her cycles were short and, um, they were that she said they were short, and I was like, I said, some women would argue that that's not a bad thing. She said, but I literally can't leave the house. That's how bad they are, but it's shorter. So severe cramps is a sign that your body is making too many inflammatory compounds, um, often worsened by poor gut or liver health. So this is usually linked to poor gut or overburdens of the liver. So if you need, so just a little tip here. If you need to pack painkillers like you're prepping for a camping trip, then your period is actually trying to tell you something bigger. It's just an FYI. Now, let's move on to PMS and other symptoms beyond just hormones. So, if you're dealing with mood swings, cravings, anxiety, bloating, these aren't just random. They're actually tied to hormonal fluctuations, and they also things like it's tied into gut health, liver detox, blood sugar balance, and your overall stress load. Now, do you experience anxiety before your period? If so, then this is often linked to low progesterone or blood sugar instability. Um, do you tend to experience breast tenderness? I hear that a lot. Do you tend to experience breast tenderness? If so, that's usually linked to estrogen dominance or your body is not clearing out the excess hormones well, which AKA that's tied into phase two liver detox. So now, do you experience chin breakouts, especially around the jawline? If so, that's often a testosterone androgen issue. This usually points back to gut health as well. So it's like when your kitchen sink clogs, y'all. It isn't always just the faucet. Sometimes you got to look way down, further down in the pipes to figure out the problem. Now, so why does paying attention matter? Your cycle is our body's way of whispering what needs support long before it shouts in the form of bigger problems like thyroid function, fertility struggles, or even worse, burnout. So if we start listening now, the fixes are usually simple and natural and not to the extreme. I'm always preaching all the time that our bodies are constantly trying to talk to us and communicate with us. It's just a matter of are we going to listen or are we going to ignore it? Usually we can ignore it, but we can only ignore it for so long before it ends up backfiring on us. So, here are some quick strategies that you can start to support a healthier cycle. The first thing would be make sure you're eating enough. So, calories actually matter. Like if you're chronically under eating, that can be problematic. Obviously, if you're say you're in a diet phase, or if you're intentionally trying to lose weight and you're doing a calorie deficit for a period of time, that's okay, but you need to do it in phases and you need to do it strategically for a period of time, not forever. So make sure you're eating enough, especially protein and healthy fats. That is so, so important. Both of those are a big support to our hormones. And then you want to make sure that you're balancing your blood sugar. I've done so many videos and talked about balancing your blood sugar. Like if you don't know the tips, go back and watch them. And if you want a refresher, then shoot me a message. But the first thing is don't skip meals. Don't go prolonged periods of time without skipping meals. So you want to balance your blood sugar. Then you want to look at supporting your liver. Eat lots of cruciferous veggies. Stay hydrated. Make sure your dietary fiber is intact. I will say that as we age, women, so the textbook recommended fiber range for a female is 25 to 35 grams of fiber. Most women, and I will say as we age, perimenopausal women and menopausal women seem to respond a lot better at the 30 to 40 gram range. Women with PCOS do much, much better with even higher fiber. So you're looking at kind of like the 35, 40 gram range for those women that have PCOS. So that's just a little trick. And then you want to manage stress. I will always talk about this one because this one is so important. And people might thumb their nose up at me about the stress thing. Like we're never going to do away with stress in our life. We're never. It's just a matter of how are we managing it? Are we taking on unnecessary stress? And, what is our perception of stress? So it's different for everyone. But taking even just 5 to 10 minutes a day of true downtime can make all the difference. So pencil that in, put it on your calendar. If you're busy, Schedule it if you need to. And then lastly, prioritize sleep. Like sleep is so, so important. Your hormones reset overnight, so make sure that you're prioritizing sleep. Don't stay up on your iPad or watching Netflix or whatever. That's always going to be there. It's always going to be, you're not going to miss anything. It's always going to be there. I promise the world will not end if you go to bed 30 minutes earlier, but your hormones will definitely thank you for it. So, if any of this resonated with you today, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear if your period has ever sent you a signal that you finally paid attention to. And if you want to do a deeper dive soon and look into comprehensive hormone testing and how to naturally balance estrogen and progesterone, send me a message and let's connect. Until next time, keep listening to your body, and it's trying to talk to you. It's just a matter if you'll listen.